Welcome back to Pop Culture Philosophers. We were talking earlier about H.G. Wells, talking about time travel movies, the science of time travel. Let's talk about a little bit about time travel television, TTTV, if you will.
That's a really good subject.
Yeah, Drew, do you have a particular television show that deals with time travel we'd like to discuss?
One that a lot of people don't really think of, but it's time travels everywhere.
Oh, yeah,
in the
Simpsons.
Yes. Hey, one of my favorite episodes, the Treehouse of Horror. I can't remember the exact one. It has to do with the toaster. He grabs the toaster, and every time he goes back in time, and he tries to avoid stepping on anything.
Oh, it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah,
right?
he keeps getting worse and worse at it,
That.
and eventually he goes through the entire the maze, and he's just like, ha, 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 oh yes, and then he sits down and he lands on the first fish to ever crawl out of the primordial ooze, and he just goes, oh, I wish I hadn't killed that fish. But one of the ones that, other than The Simpsons, that people don't think of is Lost, even though that
Yes.
Lost has everything to do with time travel. This mystical
Lost
island.
is a great show.
But one episode in particular, I think it's actually one of my favorite episodes of any kind of TV at all ever, is called The Constant. It's the 5th episode of season 4, and it's different because the main character is he's only been like a supporting character before that. It's Desmond Hume, and he's that guy that shows up in the vault, and he's just kind of been wacky, and he slowly gets expanded upon how he's trying to get in touch with his girlfriend Penny, and they're taking a helicopter ride out to the freighter where everything's gonna be fine. They're gonna see these people. They're gonna trying to meet up with them to find a way off the island, of course, because that's what they try and do on the island. They try and leave it.
So it's like a fancier Gilligan's Island. Keep going.
Yeah, he kind of gets unstuck from time, and there in 2004, he starts talking and acting like it's his 1996 self. And he's like, I don't even know you! And he's like, stop acting like you know me. And there are these immediate, jumps. Like, he'll be talking, and then mid-sentence, he's back in boot camp in the Royal Army. He's down, and he's, like, doing push-ups, and he just stands up, and, of course, gets everyone else in trouble because it's boot camp. And he's trying to remember what happened. He tries to call his girlfriend, and she's like, you broke up with me and went to the army in 1996. There are these cuts that he's just like mid-sentence, he'll just be like, back in 2004. Just completely back to the future. And he eventually gets to talk to one of the scientists who's on the island, and he's like, alright, go to Cambridge and find me. And of course that's one of the tropes, is like, I'm not going to believe you, so tell me this specific thing. And through all that, he finds out that he needs a constant, something that is personal to him that exists in 1996 and 2004. And he decides it's Penny, it's his girlfriend. But the problem is, he hasn't spoken to Penny in 2004, and everything keeps going wrong. Like, the audio equipment gets tampered with, and he can't get in touch with. But he finally, in 1996, he gets a phone number from her. And he's like, I know this is going to be sounding weird, but in 8 years, do not change this phone number. And she's just like, I don't believe you, get out. If I give you this phone number, will you just leave? And he's like, yes, I'll leave. And it just culminates in this huge thing where this beautiful music by Michael Giacchino, who should have won way more Golden Globes, anything, for this entire score. He finally gets to talk to this woman that he's loved for years, and it's the lost love.
Lost love.
He finally gets to talk to her, and he's fine. Like, he turns to Saeed, and he's just like, he remembers everything. He's back to himself. But it's the fact that he's just like these just sudden cuts just to 1996, and he's like, what are you doing? It's like, he'll just be like, boom, comatose. And there's another guy going through it, and he's like, they thought I was crazy too, you're going through it. And this guy eventually has a seizure and dies. So this was very personal to him. He's like, he would have died if it hadn't been for Penny. Penny saved his life. And it's just one of the best episodes of anything I've ever seen.
It's a good one.
Goldsmith?
Okay, so I watch a lot of TV shows. Quantum Leap is probably one of the best and most interesting and original takes on time travel ever.
Definitely.
Sam Beckett is in this project funded by the government. It's him and a buddy of his, Al,
Yeah.
who's an admiral in the Navy, and he observes the project, and they sync their brainwaves up so they can communicate when he goes to time travel. And so he does it, and what it does is he steps into the chamber, and he basically swaps consciousnesses. Conscious night with someone in the past, but he can only travel within his own lifetime. And they get around that a couple times, but it's so cool because he's in the past, and Al gets projected into the past so Sam can see him. He's projected as a hologram.
Yeah, because like his guide.
Yeah, and they're the best on-screen duo ever. Better than Mulder and Scully, Kirk and Spock. We'll come back to Star Trek. in a
Abbott and
second.
Costello.
Better than Abbott and Costello. A holographic partner from the future. How cool is that?
He's done better than Hurley.
Quantum
and
Leap's
Sid.
also. Tons of Star Trek episodes.
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. In my opinion, best time travel story ever, City on the Edge of Forever,
Yeah,
from the original Star Trek series.
really, really good. You
Absolutely.
can't save that woman. You
No.
know she's gonna die, but you can't save her.
Let's get the hell out of here.
There were. Which series do you think had more time travel episodes?
Next Generation.
It was Voyager.
Ah, I should have known.
Yeah.
They got very gimmicky.
Well, they had to get 70,000 light years, so
Yeah, they had some time to fill.
yeah. Every series of Star Trek has a lot of time travel in it, and they're all so good. The finale.
Yesterday's
of
All Good Things.
All Good Things. That's one of the best episodes too.
All Good Things is seriously like one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek. Period. And Yesterday's Enterprise is really good. Trials and Tribulations DS9.
Trials and Tribulations.
Whatever.
There's tribbles.
Yeah, Tribbles. Dude,
That was
Is
so
it-
cool
is it-
because they
is it
go.
triple?
great.
So-
Yeah, they go back in time, and it's actually like the Defiant gets sent back in time, and it actually superimposes some of the cast of Deep Space Nine into
yeah,
the
it's
original series
brilliant.
episode. It's so cool because they're interacting with Kirk and Spock, and they dress up the Captain Sisko and them in the.
They start
original
the
series
fight
uniform.
with the Klingons in the cafeteria.
Yeah,
Yeah.
O'Brien.
Yeah,
O'Brien
O'Brien.
gets into it.
I love when the Klingons, they look different, and so they ask
Yeah.
Worf, and Worf's like,
We don't talk about it.
we don't talk about it with outsiders. It's great. Oh my god. I will also mention Doctor Who. I know nobody else here is a big Doctor Who fan. Doctor Who is probably right now the most popular. It is the most popular television show ever about time travel. Doctor Who. Doctor Who's really good. Old and new. I'm mostly familiar with the new, but it's really good. You said Lost. You said Star Trek. That's everything I had to say. All right.
Dude, we're not going to move away from this subject. I don't know if anybody else has any more shows, but we're not going away from this without talking about a show that probably nobody knows anything about. It came on Spike for a long time. It's called 7 Days.
I have no idea.
Nobody knows. They took the Roswell crash and they used that ship that crashed to build a spear.
Now, I remember the show Roswell,
It's not that.
because that show was bad too.
They built a spear, and the fuel that the engine that powered the ship bends space-time, and they have just enough fuel left to power this sphere that they built, and the fuel regenerates itself up to the certain point that it was at, so they have enough of it to be able to send the sphere back in time 7 days. So it's like this secret NSA project. And whenever something really bad happens, like the first episode, the White House gets hit with a plane way before 9/11. But they start the program, and the guy that they get to pilot it is like in a mental institution, and he's got this extreme high pain tolerance, and he's going through it. The spear is like, it looks like the cockpit of a helicopter, but there's a stick in the middle, and he's got to keep it balanced, or he's going to end up out in space somewhere instead of on the planet. But it goes back in time 7 days, and then it takes like a month for the fuel to regenerate, so he can't just go back again and try to refix it. And such an underrated show. It's got so many cool characters, and that's probably my favorite time travel. Favorite time machine is that spear, just because it has limitations and it's only used for good. And
The whole, like, it regenerates itself after so many days seems a little gimmicky.
no, the
Like,
fuel,
they've unlimited
it's like a
their
crystal.
fuels. Oh,
It's
it's
a
a
crystal.
crystal. Well, never
But the
mind.
way
then.
that-
I feel like an asshole.
It uses a charge when it goes back, and then it takes a while for it to regenerate.
Okay.
It's like having a battery and charging the battery.
John, what are your favorites?
I can't really think of any time travel shows other than wasn't a big Star Trek fan. I'm familiar with Quantum Leap. I watched a little Quantum Leap, I like Quantum Leap. I can't think of a lot of other time travel shows.
What about Terminator?
The
series?
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah.
The short-lived series. Didn't really watch it. I really can't think of any. Yeah. I mean, there's episodes that deal with. I would say if we're going to deal with time travel, and this is somewhat. Yeah, this deals with time travel because there is some time travel, and then of course the being Frozen, which we talked about the time travel there. Futurama, I guess. 'Cause
Yeah,
Fry-
suspended animation works.
Yeah, Fry is frozen, sent to the future, but there is parts where there is a time travel episode specifically where he goes around. They actually watch the world end and they come back around in a loop
Yeah.
to where he was. Like that's how time works. You can just circle the whole, back to, and it's the same people.
Was that the finale, the last of the series?
I don't. There's been a couple finales, but I don't think it was the finale. But yeah, Futurama, I guess, would be my choice. I don't know. I can't think of any other shows that deal with a lot of time travel.
Well,
that I consistently
there's
watch.
all kinds of shows that just have time travel in them. Like
Yeah, I got time
Supernatural's got
travel
a couple. The Mystery Squad episode of Supernatural is so funny.
Uh,
It keeps repeating the same thing over and
This takes funny to you.
over. Sliders has a couple, even though they use the Einstein-Rosen bridge that we were talking earlier, wormhole, but it goes to a different dimension. But it's not really time travel, but they go to a different Earth that is moving slower, so they feel like they're time traveling. There's an episode of Family Matters where Urkel invents a time machine. There's all kinds of shows that try to do that.